Life and Times of a Goddess. Well, here she is, the original Green Goddess, a symbol of health and fitness on BBC TV's Breakfast Time back in the 1980s. Now, hands up all of you who feel 100% fit and healthy. Now, hands up all of you who feel that you have a perfect figure. Well, I'm from the West Country, and there we have a lovely saying. When man and woman to 40 doth come, man turns to belly and woman to bum. Well, being 100% fit was important to me as a healthy West Country youngster all those years ago. Athletics and tennis were my sports, and I'd been blessed with very long legs, a brother, and many boy cousins, and anything they could do, I could do better, or so I thought. I was a tomboy. And given that I was so fit and had some natural talent, I decided that when I left my grammar school, I'd train to be a sports mistress. But my excessively strict father would have none of it. So just how fit are we all? And what does it mean to be totally fit? Well, there are 7 components to fitness, and it's not just about your body. Yes, of course, there is physical fitness. Then there's nutritional fitness, mental fitness, medical fitness, social fitness, emotional fitness, and spiritual fitness. And it's only if you can tick all those boxes that you can claim to be totally fit, and not many people can. But whatever our age or ability, when we're active and we exercise, there are 3 immediate benefits to our fitness, and they all begin with S. So who can tell me what those benefits are? Yes, stamina, strength, and suppleness, possibly shape, possibly skill, and maybe sex. And with a body that is fit, you can expect it to do what you want it to do, when you want to do it, and for as long as you want to do it. And I can hear some of you giggling, which does remind me of Joe and Josephine, a lovely old couple in their 80s, and they were lying in bed one night. Husband Joe was falling to sleep, but Josephine was in a romantic mood and wanted to talk, and she said, "Joe, you used to hold my hand and kiss me before we went to sleep." Mildly irritated, Joe reached across, held her hand, gave her a peck on the cheek, and back to sleep. Seconds later she said, "And then you used to nibble my ear and give me love bites." Joe threw back the bedclothes, staggered out of bed. "Joe, darling, where are you going?" Sighing, Joe retorted, "Hang on a minute, love. I'm looking for my teeth." Now, my own dad had scoffed at me wanting to be a PE teacher, insisting gym and athletics were purely recreational and an excuse for not doing a proper job. So I left school at 16 and trained to become a personnel and welfare officer in Bristol's biggest department store. I loved the work and did it well. One day I was flattered when a fashion buyer asked me to be a model in the store's big charity fashion show. No, I hadn't had any training for the job, but I did have these long legs, and they did prove to be important. But trotting down that fashion runway was soon to lead me down other exciting paths. At the tender age of 19, I married, soon started my family, and because of that fashion show, I was encouraged in my 20s to enter the world of modelling seriously. I worked on fashion shows. I did photography, TV commercials, advertising, and more work followed fast and furiously, and soon I was teetering down runways and being photographed or filmed in exotic locations all around the world. And throughout those exciting years, my sporty existence continued to be important to me, and during the 70s, I was invited to teach exercise to music, to holidaymakers in Butlins camps at Minehead, Bognor Regis and Barry Island, and to campers in Pontins at Weston-super-Mare. My method of teaching exercise to music was new, innovative, and proved a huge success. And I'd discovered my recipe for a healthy lifestyle, which is regular moderate exercise, plus good varied diet. So I decided to eat less of the 3 S's, salt, sugar, saturated fat, and more of the 3 F's, fresh food, fish, fruit and vegetables. Fruit and veg, incidentally, deliver all those age-resisting nutrients and vitamins and keeps your skin looking much younger. Well, what is it they say? An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but Stanley, an older gentleman who wasn't feeling too good, had an appointment to see the urologist. He shared his practice with several other doctors, and the waiting room was filled with patients. He approached the receptionist's desk and noticed that she was an uptight, unattractive and unfriendly woman. He gave her his name. In a very loud voice, the receptionist said, "Yes, Stanley, I have your name here. You want to see the doctor about impotence, right?" Well, all the patients in the waiting room snapped their heads around to look at a very embarrassed Stanley. But he quickly recovered, and in an equally loud voice replied, "No, I've come to inquire about a sex change operation, but I don't want the same doctor that did yours." And the moral of this story is, don't mess with older folk. Now, my big break came unexpectedly when the BBC in London asked me to join the team for the start of Britain's first national breakfast time programme, which went on air for the first time 33 years ago in February 1982. It only seems like yesterday, and I made my debut at 6 a.m. on Waterloo Station, wearing only my shiny green leotard and tights and bare feet. I was freezing cold. Well, the press took a great deal of interest, and do some of you remember the journalist Jean Rook from the Express? Well, the next morning she likened me to a manic green caterpillar gyrating on our TV screens far too early in the morning. But I did receive invitations from all over the place. But early morning exercises from the upper crust Roehampton Tennis Club in London caused me embarrassment. I had the gentlemen members of the club on the court holding on to the net. The camera was looking at me and all the gentlemen were behind me doing deep knee bends. Well, there I was, clutching the net, and as I got the signal to wind up, I said these words. Well, as you can see, the men and I have had fun here on the courts this morning. It's not only their balls that are bouncing, it's their members too. Oh dear. Breakfast time was fun, but in 1988 life took a serious turn when, at the age of 47, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a frightening time. I had immediate treatment, a bilateral mastectomy, but as you can see, I was a lucky lady, and today, 28 years later, I'm fighting fit. It's a strange thing to say, but I find my life is richer for the cancer experience. It made me focus on what is important, and I feel I've been given a second chance in life, and I've made a pact with my God that I won't waste a moment of it. And recently, I proved that keeping fit pays off when I trekked the Great Wall of China on behalf of breast cancer care, and we raised over £250,000. Not bad for an old un, huh? My latest venture is a fitness DVD for all ages and abilities called Easy Fit, to help us stay young and beautiful. Like it or not, every day we all get that little bit older. Aging is inevitable, a depressing thought. Nothing we can do about it, or is there? We've certainly no control over our destined lifespan, but we do have some control over the quality of our lives. Growing older is not a disease, it happens to us all. For nearly 2 years now, I've presented my hour-long program every week called We've Got Mail on the DAB radio station called The Wireless, Radio for Grown-Ups. Age UK is the sponsor of the radio station, and having done voluntary work with Age UK for over 30 years, I was invited as an ambassador of the charity to the opening of their new London headquarters. Prince Charles is their patron, and I've met him many times. Standing alongside 2 other ambassadors, including Lionel Blair, He asked me if I was as busy as ever. I went to reply, but before I could, the other ambassador stepped forward and said, "You bet she is. She's been taking her clothes off for the last 4 months in Calendar Girls." I was so embarrassed, but you can't argue in front of royalty. Yes, I had been in that great show, but in fact my character, Lady Cravenshire, certainly did not take her clothes off. Indeed, it was she who was so shocked when others did. But as Lionel Blair laughed with me later, he said it just proved our fellow ambassador hadn't seen you perform, or she would have known. So who was that other ambassador? None other than the actress Sylvia Sim. Remember her? Ice Cold in Alex? Well, I love to laugh, and I hope I've brought a smile or two to your face. Laughter is the best medicine. So laugh often, long, and loud, because I'm convinced we don't stop laughing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop laughing.